Hi, I'm Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. She is a life coach, speaker, and of course, an author too, and the author of the book Because You Matter. No other than Miss Danielle Bernock. Welcome to Book 101 again, Miss Danielle. And can you please introduce more about yourself?
Well, thank you, Danielle, for having me here again. Yes, I'm Danielle Bernock. My website, daniellebernock.com. I'm a life coach, like you said, but it all started with my first book, which we talked about last time. So go listen to Danielle's other talk with Emerging with Wings. And this one is Because You Matter, how to take ownership of your life so you can really live. And I'm all about helping people to live their best life, heal trauma in their lives, and repair their relationships, starting with their relationship with themselves. All because you have value, because you matter.
Yes, because you matter for sure. How do you how do you define taking ownership of one's life in practical terms, Miss Danielle?
Well, I start the book by explaining the difference between responsibility and ownership. When I discovered there was a difference between those two, it was very impactful to me. People understand taking responsibility. And when you're raising kids, you want them to take responsibility. You buy them a pair of nice, expensive shoes and you want them to take care of them. You want them to be responsible. And oftentimes they're not. They'll leave them in the driveway. They'll forget them. They'll walk through the mud. They'll do something like that. And you get upset because they're not being responsible. But what they really need is to take ownership. The difference between the two is responsibility is something you can put on someone else. And it's also sometimes can be oppressive when someone puts responsibility on you you don't want on you. That can be oppressive. But ownership is closer to your heart. It's something that belongs to you. So you will take better care of it. If that same kid, he shells out 100, 200 bucks for his own shoes, you can bet your bottom dollar that he is not leaving those shoes out in the driveway. That's the difference between ownership and responsibility. So to take ownership for your life is to really see the value in your life and to take control of everything that is in your power to do so you can live your best life without oppressing yourself, but do it with a way that lifts yourself up because you have inherent value. And I have different chapters in there about how to take ownership of the different parts of your life. So I break it down into little bite-sized pieces. The book is in little bitty sections to make it easier to swallow. Because a friend of mine has this wonderful quote, and I quote her all the time: broken hearts cannot swallow big paragraphs. And so there's small little things in there so you can take a little bite size and then think about it. How do I apply this? How can I do this in my life in a practical way? And at the end of the chapter, there's a things to review and also a place for notes so you can actually apply what you're taking into yourself, how to take ownership of your life so you can really live. And on top of that, there's stories, because just getting instruction isn't enough. We can get bored with that. We can lose interest in that. But when we have illustrations, there's 10 different stories in this book of 10 different people, men and women, older, younger, different races, different ways of belief, of how they took ownership of a situation in their life that tried to destroy them, and how they're thriving in life now and how they're helping others. Because when you take ownership and you recover from something, it creates in you the desire to pay it forward, to help others. And so that's what I'm doing with this book, and these other people, their stories, what they do in there also. So maybe you will relate to my story, but maybe you'll relate to Sylvia's story more, or you'll relate to Naomi's story more, or you'll relate to John's story more. So there's something in there for you no matter where you're coming from, because it is very diverse.
Miss Danielle Bernock, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Because we are matter. What are the most common misconceptions people have about self worth that holds them back?
They measure it by what other people think. And our value is what I call inherent. You have value because you exist. I believe that we're created in the image and likeness of God. And so we just are born with value. The common misconception is people measure their value by their performance, by their achievements, by what other people think. All those things are subject to change. So you will feel great about yourself one day and terrible another day. But if you will measure your value by who you are, that God created you, that you are a human being, you will see that value every day. You have something to contribute. You can grow every day. You can change every day. Everyone falls down, you get back up again. We're all in the same boat of this thing called humanity. Everyone's experience is different, but everyone who's breathing has value.
Definitely. Let's talk about the self discovery. Because you matter. What was your personal turning point in realizing your own worth?
Oh, it was in that first book that we've talked about, Emerging with Wings. My sense of value was removed through the multiple kinds of trauma that I had. Some was situational trauma, but some of them were personal attacks on who I am and my identity. For example, in 1988, I legally changed my first name to Danielle because I had a bully who attacked me using my name. And I ended up believing I didn't even have the right to draw breath. So it was hard to go through life like that, thinking I needed to die at any time. And then I had religious trauma that added to that. And it was a really deep hole, but it was because God rescued me. God came and found me in the midst of my mess and convinced me of my value, and then gave me a wonderful man for a husband who validated that. And I've been walking with him. We've been married for 45 years, and he has really, for all 45 of those years, though he's not perfect, nobody is, he has validated that, come alongside me. We need grace because no one's perfect. We need encouragement. We need mercy. We need someone to believe in us. And so it was a process of that, of first God found me, and then he gave me my husband, and I've sought to surround myself with things that agree with that to feed that value, because when we know and understand our value, we want to pour it into others. And so it's all about paying it forward and lifting other people up.
Lifting other. It's really good mantra. Miss Danielle, how can someone begin to distinguish the true desire from societal or familial expectations?
Between what? Can you say that again?
Familial expectations.
And what was the first part?
What true desire from societal?
Ah,
How can someone, yes, to begin to distinguish their true desires?
mm. Oh, you have to spend time with yourself, which when people have trauma or they have poor self esteem, they have trouble being with themselves. Being alone can cause them anxiety. So you do it in little bites to bring yourself into a place where you can sit with yourself. You need to sit with yourself and look inside. If you need a counselor, oftentimes someone needs a counselor to do that, or a coach, someone to do it with you, because being alone is too scary. So you need someone to come along with you in that journey, to sit with you, to ask you questions that you hadn't thought of before. How do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? Funny story. I didn't know my favorite food was cheese until a friend of mine, we were going over her house a number of years ago, and she was going to get these certain kind of chips that had cheese on them because she knew they were my favorite. And I remember that that gave me pause because she knew that about me and I didn't know that about me. So having someone in your life to come alongside, a friend, a pastor, a counselor, a coach, someone, get some help from someone to help you do the self discovery. I have a course on my website that helps you do that. If you want to do it alone but have some help, that's a way to do that as well. But get some help to help you look at yourself, to sit with yourself, to discover yourself. What do you think? What do you feel? And not what they think. What do you think? Well, they want you to do that. Do you want to do that? And it takes questioning yourself in a curious way. Curiosity is really important.
Yes, people, be curious in everything. Who knows? You will be the next Einstein. And let's talk about the overcoming obstacles. Miss Danielle, what are the biggest emotional barriers to claiming one's worth, like fear or guilt or many more?
Oh, those are big barriers, fear and guilt. You named the barriers. Those are the barriers. Fear of people judging you
Yes,
in certain religious circles. They really minimize the self through a whole process of, you need to die to yourself and it's only Christ who lives. And so that's confusing if you don't understand what they're saying. I got caught in that for a long time. How am I supposed to die, but I'm supposed to be alive, but not me, but just God? And I'm like, why am I even here? It's very confusing. So we need to go to back to he created us to love. That's humanity's greatest need, is to love and be loved. And if we will lean into that, we need to love ourselves. I like to say, when you love yourself, you are honoring God because you're loving something he loves. If you go to your friend's house and they have a dog and they love their dog, they love their dog. If you love their dog too, they're going to love you because you're loving what they love. You're caring about what they care about. And so to lean into your value, to see the truth, not in an egotistical, arrogant way, but in seeing your value for what it's worth. Nobody's perfect, but everybody's got something to contribute to society and to bring people alongside you. Like I said, don't be alone.
don't be alone. Yes. If you need help, people, ask for help.
Everybody needs help all the time. People think they
Yes.
don't need help. We all need help. We were created for relationship. That's at the end of life, people don't say on their deathbed, "Oh, I wish I would have worked more. Oh, I wish I would have spent more time alone." No, they have desire regarding their relationships. Relationships are the gold in life.
The golden indeed. How do you help people move past the I'm not enough narrative?
By helping them to fuel their value and to locate where they get their value from. I've done a talk before on how can I stop feeling so worthless? And it's like, well, who who are you looking to see your value? And if who you're looking to see your value is something that fluctuates, that's not a source to get your value from. That's why I always go back to God, because God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He does not change, and his value in you is constant. So we have to, where are we looking to? Because our minds go in the our life goes in the direction of our thoughts and our words. So it's like our steering wheel in life. So we have to, what are we looking at? Where are we looking to get our value? To look at it in a place that is constant and to locate, well, where am I? Oh, I'm feeling really bad about myself. Why? Well, where were you looking for your value? Oh, it was my boss. Oh, it was my parent. Oh, it was my kid. They're mad at me or whatever. They are not the source of your value. So when we feel bad about ourselves, it's generally because we are looking at a wrong place to validate that value.
Yes, people, God is always faithful to us, even if we are not to Him.
Amen.
Amen.
I
Amen.
had to learn that because I didn't believe God was faithful for the longest time because of all my trauma. I did not. I mean, I would tell him he wasn't faithful. But now on the other side of this, it's one of my favorite scriptures is he is faithful even when we are faithless. I mean, not
Yes.
faith weak, faithless, like without faith,
Faithless.
because he
True.
can't deny who he is. And that gives me great comfort because I fall in that hole.
Well, very well said, Miss Danielle. Very well said. What's your advice for someone who feels trapped by their current circumstances?
Again, get help. Get help somehow because we can't. I have felt trapped, but if you will let that feeling of desperation and hopelessness drive you to look for a solution, you will find one. There's a story I like to tell. There's this man that has a donkey, and this donkey fell in this deep hole. And the donkey wasn't young, he was old, and the hole was really deep. And so the guy says, oh, I'm just going to leave the donkey down there. So instead of trying to rescue the donkey, he starts throwing dirt in the hole to just bury the donkey alive. That's a pretty desperate situation, don't you think? But what does the donkey do? Does he just lay down and die? No. The guy throws a dirt in a hole. He stomps on the dirt, and then the guy throws more dirt, and he stomps on the dirt. And as he puts the dirt in, it makes the bottom of the hole higher, 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 and higher until the donkey walked out of the hole because he stomped on what was trying to kill him.
Miss Danielle, as an author, what are your short term and long term goals?
Pardon?
What are your short term and long term goals as an author?
Well, I'm playing with another book right now, but I'm in the gathering phase of gathering information. So, in the meantime, I am looking to be speaking more in businesses and organizations. I have a trilogy of workshops that I do, and looking for more people to help in the coaching as I'm working on this next book.
Good luck to your goals, Miss Danielle. And what would be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be authors like you?
Start. That's short and sweet, but start because we can overthink it. We can be afraid. You don't know everything about writing a book. I don't care how many times you wrote one. The industry changes, the world changes. So just start. Start. What do you want to do? Start doing research. Start writing. What do you want to write about? Journal about it. Gather information. Start. Just start.
Just start and stop procrastinating, people. If you have the passion to write. Just like Miss Danielle Bernock. So, can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Oh, books. Books. I am rereading one right now that I'm not done rereading. I'm doing it slowly, but I love the title of it. Everybody's normal till you get to know them. It's kind of an
Nice.
old book. I read it like 10 years ago and I'm reading it again now. But when that happens, you get something different out of it. And one of the first chapter in the book, he talks about how we are porcupines. Everybody's got their quills, when they have their quills. And so porcupines, how do they reproduce? They have to learn how to dance. And so we need to learn how to dance with one another so that we don't hurt one another and we can have good relationships.
Thank you for that recommendation, Miss Danielle. And what does really living look like in tangible everyday actions?
Being able to have joy, being able to have healthy relationships that feed your soul, having peace in your own heart and not living in constant anxiety. I mean, everyone has anxious moments, and it's not like you never feel those emotions that are not so fun to feel, but no emotions are bad. They're just some we like better than others. But to thrive in life is to do the things in your heart and to have joy and to feel connected with one another and to love and be loved.
Yes, definitely. And how do you handle moments when self doubt creeps back in?
Remind myself of things I've done right. Remind myself of where I've done something that was scary and I succeeded. Remind myself of where I've done something and it failed, but it wasn't the end of the world. Celebrate the little victories and remind yourself of the victories and remind yourself of the failures that didn't destroy you, because failure is not permanent. It's just an event.
What's your approach to reframing failure as a part of growth?
I love what I was told years ago. I think I know who it was, but I won't say their name because I'm not positive it was them. I think it was them. But I remember her saying how when she was growing up, her and her siblings, when they came to the dinner table, her dad would always ask them, it was either weekly or daily, what did you fail at today? Or what did you fail at this week? And it was not to condemn them. It was for them to see something that they had not done well and how they could overcome and do better. It was taught to them, instilled to them as children, that failure was a stepping stone to growth, and to look for what have I failed at and how can I improve on it, to see it as a stepping stone instead of a slammed door in your face.
Very well said again, Miss Danielle. And how does living authentically create ripple effects for others?
Ah, because we affect each other. We affect each other even when we don't know it. Let's say you're having, a difficult day, but you're going to the grocery store and I'm going to choose to be happy today because it's within my choice, and so I'm going to choose to have a good attitude. I'm going to choose to be happy. You go to the grocery store and you're smiling at people, and someone is at the grocery store, you don't even know them. They're having a bad day. Maybe they're feeling really bad and contemplating some end of life things, but they see you smile and they're like infused with hope somehow. We can do that. It's so simple. Just a simple smile or giving someone a hug can change a person's whole day. It doesn't have to be a big, huge thing. Big, huge things are wonderful. Giving a large amount of money, going and digging a well in another country, uh, feeding people, clothing people. There's lots of wonderful things, but giving a smile and a hug, that can be life altering as well. So it doesn't have to be costly. It doesn't have to be a big thing. But if you are living just authentically from your life, people see that and they can recognize it, like they can smell it.
Indeed. They can smell it for sure. What is the most transformative feedback you've received from readers?
Ah, oh, my favorite thing was from this lady. She had bought my first book, Emerging with Wings, and she wrote me after she finished reading it. She had bought it, and she wrote me the next day, and she said how she had lost electricity, but she sat underneath a blanket with a flashlight so she could finish reading the book, because she had to finish reading it because it just captivated her. And I was like, wow.
Wow, as in wow. And Miss Danielle, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too. And what else? My other podcast, my comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well, geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast law 101 and mental health 101, love letters in third season, and movie 101 review and music 101 in fourth season, and science 101 and sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Miss Danielle, what's one small step listeners can or viewers can take today to honor their worth?
I love you. I need to tell you I love you, and tell yourself that you love yourself. Dare to love yourself. Dare to love yourself. If it's hard, dare to do it. Dare to love yourself, because you do have matter, and if you do have value, you matter, And if you really struggle with this, please go to my website. I have a tab on the top that says free resources. There, I have a YouTube channel. I have all kinds of free things that can help you feed your value into your soul. And I have a short little online course too called 7-Day Challenge to Love Yourself. Take that challenge and feed your soul because you do matter.
I love myself. Yes, I love myself. Miss Danielle Bernock, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world through your books. So, can you please invite our listeners to support all your books?
Yes, my books are available on Amazon. You can go to my website to find everything. There's a tab books, and you can read a little bit about each book and then get whichever one is what you need.
Yes, people, let's support Miss Danielle Bernock because if you support her, for sure, more and more and more empowering books like this to come. So, Miss Danielle, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. This was fun.
More to come, people. See you soon.